Everybody. My name is Cassidy Quistorf. I'm the executive director of Klamath Film, and with me today is Derek Willis. Derek's film Whispers is playing in the Klamath Independent Film Festival, September 22nd through the 24th. Derek, thank you so much for being here with us.
It's great to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So I see that you're wearing headphones, but there's no unicorn on it. I'm a little disappointed.
Actually, that actor took those headphones afterward,
Here.
and I believe he still has them. He's actually he's also the producer on that film, Robert Harney, and actually, it's the producer on my next film. He and we've been friends for about 30 years now. So,
Wow, that's awesome.
um, yeah.
Yeah, I definitely would have taken those headphones too, so I blame him. But that's really interesting. So, how did that kind of friendship come about? Or, like, how long have y'all been working together? If you've been friends for 30 years, have you done other projects?
Um, oh yeah, I mean we've done a bunch basically since the last 10 years. So we grew up together. And then I moved away to college and then I came back to Portland in 2011 and kind of started slowly making films here in Portland and have been kind of collabing with him ever since. He and I grew up and always loved movies. And so we were always making little projects and doing stuff as kids and had just always going to the movies as well. I mean, we're first and foremost movie lovers, and so you know, yeah, so we just kind of that was I think one of the first areas that we became friends and just kind of continued it. And when I started making films here in Portland, I was like, hey, you got to come do this. You got to come be a part of what we're doing. So yeah.
Awesome. That's so exciting. I love it when friendships can turn into like these other sort of hobbies and sideways things like that. But we love our Portland filmmaking contingency. Have you found a pretty good community that helps you out with different films or fundraising? How does that all work for you?
Um, it's been good. I mean, the Portland film community is amazing. You're always, I mean, it's such a great community, and actually one of the reasons why I moved back to Portland from Los Angeles.
Wow.
I'd been trying to make stuff in LA and not having the best of luck. I started as an editor, and so we were, and kind of trying to break into directing and writing, doing my own stuff and just couldn't quite get there. And it was just a lot of logistical issues. And in 2007, I came to Portland to do the short, and it was a lot of fun. It was really easy, and I really found this kind of community that embraced embraced crazy. There was this idea of oh, that's a crazy idea, and in Los Angeles, that's a negative thing, and in Portland, that's a crazy idea, lad. Let's do that. Yeah, let's go. Like that's yeah. That I don't. Even if they don't quite get it, if they're like, this is weird, I don't quite understand it, but yeah, I'm down. You're like, let's do that. You know, and that's kind of what we've been doing for years here in Portland. Is we've been making weird stuff. This Whispers is a thriller, kind of on the cusp of horror in a way. And so we've been playing with that genre area for a while now.
So fun. I know. Keep Oregon weird. We love it. We love to see all the different ideas that come in, especially to our Oregon-based film festival. It's always really fun to see what people have picked up. But yeah, speaking of, whispers in the film and the thriller genre, I mean, I am so curious to know about kind of the lore and the background behind the setting that you've created and really how it explores like this human behavior under these extreme conditions. So when you envision this world, what did you kind of think about in this post-apocalyptic kind of setting?
Hmm. Well, it was such an interesting concept because it was, it's very much a bird box, but with sound kind of story. And so, and them having to listen to music or listen to something, have headphones on and listening to music, or else these whispers get in and make them hurt themselves. And so that concept, which actually Stephen Jackley, who originally wrote the script, he wrote the first draft basically, and it was very much a late night kind of idea that came to him about his own kind of self-deprecating, invasive thoughts that he would get within his own, mental health and stuff. And he was like, how can I put that into something? And that's really where the genesis came from. And then he gave it to me, and because I was looking for stuff to do, and we just kind of, I liked that musical aspect of it. And it was one of the more difficult things in the post production,
Sure.
was trying to figure out what those characters are listening to and how that mixes, how much it bleeds out of the headphones during the film, and when you see them, when you don't, and and all of that. And so it was interesting trying to balance that, and how much it you know it affected everything else that was going on, and so as well as at the same time putting in score underneath it, so
Absolutely.
which was a thing. So I mean, I liked it, and actually I think Steven is working on a larger version of this world as well,
Cool.
um, kind of fleshing it out, and I think into a future. He kind of mentioned it. I don't know where he is in that idea. So, but yeah, I mean, it's such an interesting concept, and I've always been a fan of um, music in a way, especially within things. I trying to put the sound design and these kinds of things is always important. So like, what does the world sound like, and how does that affect things? And um, that has been something I had a friend once tell me they didn't like a piece of writing that I did because they couldn't hear it, and they were used to that with what I did apparently.
Huh.
So
Interesting.
yeah, so
Well, this topic of sound design is like so important. When you think of films, you think of these visual storytelling, but this really utilizes sound design and sound as a huge storytelling aspect to it. So I'm curious, like, how did you use that sound design to kind of enhance the viewer immersion and engagement into the film? And how did those decisions kind of take play, especially with like which characters listening to what music?
um, it was really, I mean, it really just depended on what was going on, and I didn't want to put honestly, I didn't want to put a lot of thought into what they were listening to, because I didn't want it to be too intentional.
Sure.
Mainly because these characters, I kind of felt that they had to scringe, and whatever they're listening to is whatever they're listening to.
Stuck with
And so it then it just became about levels, and figuring out how to, that the whole thing with the cassette tapes and slowing it down, and how that affects
mm,
their mood, and when they really start to hear that the music slow down, their batteries are dying, and how that amps things up, and where the characters go to from there. And so that's kind of where I was with that. I mean, the each musical track, I mean, I did a little bit of figuring out, but it was really kind of it was really kind of random, to be honest.
that is
Which
and it does
who
make
got
sense.
what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. If you're scrambling in this world and you're trying to find something to listen to, I mean,
I will say, I mean, outside of the very first track, that is in the very beginning, that one was intentionally put there because it fit the kind of opening, and I wanted something, that opening shot. I wanted it was kind of a serene bit that I wanted to open it with, to then come back into something very intense at the top. So that track was very intentionally put where it was, but otherwise,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. And I mean, we open with this kind of beautiful meadow setting. And how did the location scouting go for the film and deciding where you wanted these characters to be?
That was actually our main sticking point of the film. It really, like, we really were not, you know, are we going to do this? What are we doing? And we kind of met a location scout here in Portland area, and basically told them, hey, go find us a barn. And they were amazing. I mean, it's always an amazing thing, like just getting someone who knows what they're doing in a piece. And they just called up a bunch of farms around the area and found someone who was like, yeah, I have a bunch of barns. Take a look. Sure. And it worked out. It was a bit of a back and forth, once they realized, what filming requires and whatnot. But in the end, it worked out amazing. They were really nice in the end, and so yeah, it worked out. And so we had never met them before, and it was a little bit. It was actually in Wilsonville, just south of Portland. But so yeah, it was fun.
For sure. Yeah. And I'll put in a little plug if you're ever interested in filming in Klamath Falls. Klamath Film does film scouting. We just took Roland Stafford around last weekend. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, so from the original script that you received and to kind of playing it into what it was now, how did that character development look like and kind of the plot of the story go? And what elements did you add in or take away? What was that process like?
Um, you know, when I got I mean, it was very much kind of a first draft in a way. I liked the world. It had some stuff, but it wasn't what I kind of brought to it was a little bit more cinematic things. That opening shot, I wanted some pieces of it to kind of introduce us in and that kind of thing. Were the bits that I added, as well as I needed the characters were much more separated originally. And I think one of the main things that I did was them coming together when they talk to each other,
Right.
that head touching to get the vibration
Wow.
is kind of what I was going for there. That,
Yeah.
to communicate, because they're listening to loud music, how are they going to talk to each other and actually understand?
Mhm.
Um, and so my idea was this. Stephen also had his kind of concept was he was thinking about having some kind of sign language that they would do as well, and I'm sure it's something that he would put into the feature. But yeah, that was the one of the main things that I wanted, because I wanted something more between these characters, something that was a little bit more intimate and really get into the relationship there, especially between the couple and the other woman and stuff. And so it getting them to come together and have those moments with each other, I felt was really important, and that and wanting to play with that, and what that meant, and that gave the actors a lot to work with as well, and just added that level to it. So
Absolutely. I love that attention to detail. I think it totally just adds those layers and those important kind of just scene settings for, short films like this. You really got to put the heart in wherever you can when you only have, 10 to 20 minutes, 14 minutes to really share the story. Um,
yeah.
So, as far as like kind of the thriller genre goes, were there any main inspirations cinematically or thematically? I mean, when I saw it, I immediately thought of like A Quiet Place, and you mentioned Bird Box. So, were there any kind of big draws from other films?
Hmm. Not not to come to mind,
Yeah,
honestly.
sure. I love it.
I mean, I knew it kind of had a Bird Box feel to it, but I was really like, I don't know. I came at it without really any preconceived ideas in a way. I mean, I knew I what I wanted to do
Mhm.
and how I wanted these things to be portrayed. Um, there's definitely elements you know of other things I've seen,
Yeah,
but I can never. It's one of those funny things. Is like, yeah, I know I was like, oh, I like this shot, but I can't remember where I've seen it. It's one of those weird things that I'm sure there's a shot in this where the actress is running from the other two, and we did it on a wide. I think it was a 14 millimeter.
oh, nice.
We turn it and it's wide. It's right in her face, kind of close up, and I was like, I like that shot, and I know I've seen it someplace else. I'm not gonna. I couldn't tell you where. I
Sure.
mean, it's a bit of a Requiem for a Dream ish. It's just not attached to her,
Mhm.
but it's kind of one of those things, especially you watch so many movies that they just kind of bleed in. You're like, okay, I know I like this, and you just kind of start piecing things together in your own way.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
so,
Yeah, that originality totally comes through. That organality. I think organ and originality come together. It's not.
originality,
Yeah,
yeah.
originality. It totally comes through. And so I guess I'll phrase the question maybe in a different way: is do you have any thriller favorite directors or favorite people in that genre that maybe you'd recommend to anyone watching?
Oh, oh, put me on the spot. And
Yeah,
this is the worst too because I don't thrillers that I really like. I mean, in this kind of aspect, I don't know. I mean, I'd have to.
sure.
It's
Take your
so hard.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll put it in the description if you think of something later too.
Totally. Yeah, I don't know. Those are, it's when you're trying to think of films to like in something like that, you know, I know there's ones in my brain.
No
I
worries.
can't single them out at the moment.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Sorry.
Absolutely. Well, now my next question was going to be if you had one song that you had to listen to or one record album on a cassette.
Oh, on a cassette.
I mean, from
That takes me back.
yeah, sure. Or, I mean it could be a newer album too, but what would your choice be to be listening to in this world?
In that world, in
Sure.
the
Yeah.
world of
Yeah.
whispers.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be interesting. Um,
I mean, I guess you would want something relaxing to like chill out, or maybe like really hardcore to be like, no, I can do this.
I don't know. I mean, you also want to, maybe something loud and to really drown out anything else coming through in a way.
Right.
Would be um my thing.
That's a good point.
I don't. Gosh, I don't. That's so tough. I mean, and I mean, I've been listening to a lot of kind of my old go to. I mean, I wrote a piece about the '90s or kind of connected to the '90s, and I've been listening to a lot of my old '90s music.
Nice.
And so, I mean, I could go all the way back to Korn's first album or Nine Inch Nails. I mean,
Right on.
Downward Spiral is a amazing piece of music. If I was going to pick an entire album to listen to, so and basically a Downward Spiral or oh shoot, the album has it's a double album after that, and I can't remember what the name of it is at the moment.
Go.
But
It'll get you through though. Is
true,
yeah.
true. But yeah, I mean, I feel like I would go somewhere in that area,
Cool.
something loud and filling to take up any kind of other sound.
Sage advice for surviving the apocalypse. For sure. That's awesome. So as far as like kind of the characters in the story and how their relationship, you mentioned the coming together and kind of showing that closeness. What do you kind of hope that people get out of these themes from that human connection in these like really extreme conditions?
Hmm.
Or maybe just what were you hoping to kind of show? Maybe not what people take away.
Um. Yeah. I mean, I was really, I really liked the relationship of the two main characters, and they're kind of a little bit opposites. I mean, we did it. One of the characters, the the gentleman in that, and I can't, it was played by Calvin, and I can't remember what the character's name is. Um, but Calvin's character was, much more uh, uh, removed from helping anybody,
Mhm.
and kind of holding back his partner, um, and so that aspect, and then her and him kind of changing it. And I think one of the bits of it that if you want to take something from it or about it, is her that moment where he gets taken over. He gives her headphones, and this whole like him kind of sacrificing himself, and then her actually like having to think about that and
Mhm.
think about whether or not she's going to what she's going to do in that moment. Um, as he's kind of turning and walking away, and the cords pulling, and all of that kind of moment there. Um, and her going, you know what? No, I'm not going to uh, uh, let you go. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to stop this. And at the end, like having him tied up and saying, I will come back for you.
Right.
basically. I'm going to go find a reason, this, what is happening to them is self-inflicted. So ostensibly, if she can go find batteries and come back, she could put headphones on him and he'd come back to his normal self. So, it's that kind of persistence and saying, okay, no, do there is a way through this. We can survive.
Right.
And going off and her like going, okay, I'm gonna go out and I'll come back. Um, and so that's kind of, I think, one of the main themes of it that I like. Of
Absolutely. The enduring
so
human spirit. I love that. That's awesome.
yeah.
Well, Derek, it's been so wonderful to talk with you today. Was there anything else you wanted to add about Whispers or any upcoming projects that you're working on?
No, I mean, keep an eye out. We're doing a film in September right now, that is called Numb Dilation. Hopefully we'll be able to send it to you guys next year. It's another 10-minute short film. So this one's a little bit more of a Lovecraftian horror in a way,
Cool.
um, thriller maybe as well. It's a little bloody, but not too bad. A little time jump, a little Groundhog Day ish kind of piece. So we're just in pre-production right now on that. So, but yeah. Other than that, we're just making stuff, and we'll be around.
So fun. Well, we love it, and we're so looking forward to seeing that next film. So we can't wait.